The rice never got cold in that house. Servants kept it warm all day, in case ancestors were hungry, in case guests arrived, in case anyone important walked through the door. I found out how unimportant I was on a Tuesday, 3 weeks before the Jessa. "You won't be at the table," Madame Han said. She didn't look up from her tea. "Neither will the boy." I thought I'd misheard her. "Excuse me, the memorial rite. For my husband's father." She set her cup down. Precise, like punctuation. "Only descendants bow. The board is watching who bows this year. It matters more than usual. June is his great-grandson." "June is Do-Yun's son," she said. "Whether he is this family's son is still being decided. I'd been married to Do-Yun 3 years. I had his ring, his name hyphenated onto paperwork nobody in Seoul respected. Decided by who? By the board," she said. "In 6 weeks, they vote on succession. Whoever controls the founding shares controls Han Group." She finally looked at me. "Bloodline counts votes, Simone, not marriages, not feelings. So my son doesn't count." "Not yet," she said. "That is different from not ever. Pay attention to the difference." I didn't understand the difference, not that day. I only understood that she'd just told me, in her calm, unhurried voice, that my 2-year-old was a line item in a shareholder dispute. Do-Yun found me in the kitchen an hour later, staring at nothing. She said June can't come to the Jesa. He winced. "Didn't deny it." "It's complicated, Simone. Explain it simply then." He pulled out a chair, sat down slow, like his knees hurt. "Whoever bows at the right gets photographed. Announced. It's basically a public declaration. This is family. This is who inherits. My mother doesn't want anyone declaring anything before the board votes." "Why not?" "Because if June bows and the vote doesn't go our way..." He stopped. "Say it." "Then everyone saw a mixed grandchild paraded as heir, right before we lose the company. It humiliates her. It humiliates all of us." I stared at him. "You're worried about humiliation. I'm worried about my son being hidden like he's something to be ashamed of." "That's not, isn't it?" He didn't answer that one. 2 weeks later, Chairman Han asked to see June alone. He was 81, mostly silent, a man who watched more than he spoke. He sat June on his knee and studied his face the way you'd study an old photograph, looking for a resemblance you already suspected was there. "He has my brother's ears," the chairman said. Madame Han, pouring tea nearby, didn't look up, but her hand stopped moving for 1 full second. "Appa," Do-Yun said quietly. "Don't. I'm allowed to look at my own family. We don't know yet if he's..." Do-Yun caught himself. "If he's what?" the chairman said. "Real?" Nobody answered him. I filed that away. His brother. Ears. A dead man's face showing up on my son like an inheritance nobody had signed for yet. I didn't know it was the first thread of something much bigger. 4 days before the Jesa, Madame Han called me into her study. Papers were laid out on the desk, neat as a place setting. "I've decided," she said, "that you and the boy will not attend. You already told me that. I'm telling you why this time." She slid a paper toward me. A guest list. Han cousins, board members, 3 journalists from a business daily. Every name on this list is a vote, or influences one. If they see your son at that table, and the board later denies him shares, it becomes a story. Foreign grandchild snubbed. Bad for the company. Bad for my son. And if they see him, and the board approves him, her mouth moved, almost a smile. Then it becomes a different problem. One I'm not ready to solve yet. I picked up the guest list, scanned the names. One caught my eye, handwritten in the margin, not printed. S. Han. Confirm status before right. Who is S. Han? She took the paper back, too fast. No one that concerns you. That was the 3rd crack. Small. A name in a margin. I wouldn't understand what it meant for another 2 months. Not until I found out exactly who Madame Han had done this to before. The night before the Jesa, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the floor of June's room, watching him breathe. Do-Yun found me there. "I talked to my mother," he said. "Really talked. Told her this isn't right. And she said something strange." He sat against the wall, rubbing his eyes. She said, "Only the ones who bow are the ones who belong. I decide who bows." Like it was a rule she made up herself. Maybe she did. Maybe. he said. But my father built this family on rules like that. She just learned to use them. I looked at Jun's small chest rising and falling. He's 2 years old, Do-yun. He doesn't know what a bow means. He doesn't know he's being erased from his own family's history before he's old enough to spell his name. I know. Then do something. He didn't answer. That was its own answer. The morning of the Jesa, I dressed Jun anyway. Small hanbok, navy, the one Do-yun's aunt had gifted him at his first birthday, before anyone started counting votes instead of blessings. Where we going, Mommy? Nowhere, baby, I said. Not today. I watched Do-yun leave in his good suit. Watched the car pull away toward the estate, toward a table my son had every blood right to sit at and no paper right to approach. I didn't cry. I was long past crying by then. I thought about the margin note. Ses Han, confirm status before right. I didn't know yet that S. Han wasn't a stranger. I didn't know yet that the answer to who she was would be the exact thing that saved my son's inheritance and finished the fight Madam Han thought she'd already won. I found out who S. Han was on a Thursday, in a filing cabinet I wasn't supposed to open. Do-yun kept old family folders in his study. Insurance, property deeds, things he never looked at twice. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for Jun's vaccination records. I found a folder marked SH, 1994 instead. Inside, a photograph, a young woman, maybe 25, standing on a dock somewhere that wasn't Korea. Beside her, a black man with his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at whoever was holding the camera. On the back, in pencil, Suhyun and David, Nassau. I sat down on the study floor, photograph in my lap, heart going strange and fast. Do-yun, I called. Who's Suhyun? He came in, saw the folder, and went very still. Where did you find that? Answer the question. He sat across from me, took the photo, looked at it like it might bite him. My father's younger sister, he said. My aunt. Married to a black man. Married to an American, he said. Yeah. What happened to her? He was quiet a long moment. She was cut off, struck from the family registry. My grandfather said she'd disgraced the household, marrying outside. He looked up at me. It was 1994, Simone. Different time. Is she still alive? I don't know, he said. Nobody talks about her. My mother forbids it. Your mother, I thought. Of course. Your mother knew her. They were sisters-in-law. They were close, actually. Before, he stopped himself. Before what? Before my mother voted with the rest of the family to remove her name. I stared at him. Your mother helped erase her. She was 26, Simone. It was a different era. People did what the family told them. I thought about Madam Han's voice in the study. I decide who bows. I thought about the ears on my son's face. A dead great-uncle's ears. The chairman had said. Not dead. Erased. David, I said slowly. Is he Jun's? Is there a connection? No. Do-yun said quickly. Too quickly. No. It's not like that. It's just a coincidence. A resemblance. I didn't believe him. Not yet, but I filed it. The way I'd filed everything else. I called the lawyer, Park, the next morning. Not about my visa this time. I need to know about a woman named Suhyun Han, I said. Removed from the family registry in 1994. Long silence on the line. Mrs. Han, that's a sensitive matter. I'm not asking you to break confidentiality. I'm asking if she's alive. Another pause. She is, he said finally. She lives in Atlanta, under a different name now. My hands went cold around the phone. Why are you telling me this? Because, he said, she called this office 2 months ago, asking about the succession vote, asking whether removed descendants can petition for reinstatement before a board decision. Can they? There's a narrow window, Park said. If a majority of current registered members vote to restore a name, and if it happens before the board finalizes shares, yes, it's rare. It's happened twice in company history. I sat with that. Why would she want back in now? After 30 years? I don't know, Park said. But Mrs. Han, she asked me one more thing. She asked if there was a child in the family who looked like her brother. I closed my eyes. She meant my son. I believe so, yes. I didn't tell Do-yun what I'd learned. Not right away. I called Suhyun instead. Park gave me the number reluctantly, said she'd asked for it not to be shared, said he was breaking a rule doing this. She picked up on the second ring, like she'd been waiting for someone's call for 30 years. "Is this Simone?" she said, before I even spoke. "Do-Yun's wife? How did you know?" "Park told me you were asking about me," she said. "I figured you'd call eventually. Everyone in that house eventually finds the folder." Her voice had an accent now, half Seoul, half Georgia. "I have a son," I said. "June, 2 years old. He has my brother's ears," she finished. "I know. Park sent me a photograph. I recognized them before I even read the caption." I felt my throat tighten. "Why does that matter to the vote?" "Because," she said, "when the family struck me from the registry, they didn't just remove a name. They removed a share, a specific block of founding stock that was mine by birth, frozen the day they voted me out. Nobody's touched it in 30 years. It's still sitting there, waiting for a legal heir. And you're the heir." "I was," she said, "but I renounced it 2 months ago, formally, in writing." My stomach dropped. "Why would you do that?" "Because a share can't sit frozen forever," she said. "The board's forcing a resolution before the vote. Either I reclaim it, or it reverts to the nearest bloodline, which is your son," she said. "If he's registered before the vote, that block of shares goes to him. Enough shares to swing the whole succession, Simone. Enough to matter more than anything my brother left behind." I sat down hard on the kitchen floor. Park's words and Suhyun's voice tangled together in my head. "Madam Han knows this." "Madam Han," Suhyun said, and for the first time her voice went cold, "is the reason my name was struck in the first place." She stood up at that family meeting in 1994 and voted yes before her own husband did. She wants to make sure history doesn't repeat itself in reverse. She wants to make sure no foreign spouse's child ever holds power over this family again. "So she'll fight it. She'll do worse than fight it," Suhyun said. "She'll make sure your son never gets registered at all. No registration, no claim. No claim, no shares. No shares. No vote," I said quietly. "Now you understand," Suhyun said. "You have 6 weeks. She has a lifetime of practice keeping people like us off the page." I confronted Madam Han that evening. I didn't plan to. It just happened, the way storms happen. Pressure building until there's nowhere left for it to go. She was in the garden again. Always the garden. Always the flowers. Like nothing in her world ever needed more explanation than a well-pruned stem. "You knew," I said. "About the shares. About Suhyun." Her hands didn't stop moving. "I knew you'd find out eventually. You erased her once. Now you're trying to erase my son so the same shares don't land on him." She set down her shears, finally, and looked at me with something almost like respect. "You're smarter than I gave you credit for. Answer me." "Yes," she said simply. "If June is registered before the vote, he inherits Suhyun's block. That block, combined with Do-Yun's shares, gives your side of this family effective control. Do you understand what that means? It means my son has a birthright." "It means," she said, voice sharpening for the first time in 3 years, "that everything I have built, every alliance, every year spent positioning my son to lead this company, gets handed to a 2-year-old who can't say his own last name in Korean. On the say-so of a woman I struck from this family 30 years ago." "So you'll do it again," I said. "Strike another Han." She was quiet a moment. Something moved behind her eyes. Not quite guilt, but close enough to its shadow. "Only the ones who bow are the ones who belong," she said softly. "I decide who bows. I have always decided who bows." "Not this time," I said. I turned and walked out of that garden before she could see my hands shaking. I had 6 weeks. I had a lawyer who owed me one favor he probably shouldn't give. I had an aunt-in-law 3,000 miles away who'd spent 30 years waiting for someone to knock on her door. And I had a son who didn't know yet that he was about to become the most contested name in Seoul. What I didn't have yet, what I wouldn't find until 4 days before the vote, was proof that Madam Han had already tried to make sure June never got the chance to bow at all. 4 days before the vote, everything felt like it was finally working. Park filed the registration papers for June. Suhyun sent a notarized letter confirming her renunciation. redirecting her shares to the nearest bloodline heir. Do-Yun, for once, didn't hesitate. He signed everything without being asked twice. "It's done," he told me, setting the folder on our kitchen table. "Filed this morning. June's officially on the registry." I stared at the paper like it might disappear if I blinked. "That's it? It's real?" "It's real," he said. "My mother can't undo a filed registration. Not legally." For the first time in months, I let myself breathe. We took June to the park that afternoon. Ordinary things, swings, a melting popsicle, his little shoes flashing red lights with every step. Do-Yun laughed at something June said. Really laughed. The sound I hadn't heard since Busan. "We're going to be okay," Do-Yun said, watching our son run in circles for no reason at all. I think we actually did it. I wanted to believe him. I should have known better. Every calm I'd felt in that family had been the kind right before a door slammed. The call came the next morning. Park, and he didn't waste time on hello. "Simone, there's a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Madam Han filed a counter motion an hour ago," he said. "She's petitioning the board to disqualify June's claim entirely." "On what grounds?" "The registration's filed." "Not on registration," Park said. "On legitimacy of lineage. She's submitted a formal challenge, questioning whether Do-Yun is June's biological father." The kitchen tilted sideways. "That's insane. He obviously is." "She's requesting a paternity test before the board vote," Park said. "If Do-Yun refuses, or if there's any delay, the board can rule the claim unresolved and revert the shares to the company treasury. No heir gets them, ever. She'd rather no one have it than my son have it." "That appears to be exactly the point," Park said quietly. I hung up and sat very still, June's cereal bowl still on the table from breakfast, milk gone warm. Only the ones who bow are the ones who belong. I decide who bows. She hadn't given up. She'd just found a new door. I drove to the estate one last time. She was in the study, not the garden. Papers stacked with the same terrible precision as always. "A paternity test," I said. "You know he's Do-Yun's son. You've always known." "I know what I see," she said. "The board needs what it can verify." "You're stalling." "I'm protecting a company," she said, "built by people who understood that bloodlines aren't just biology. They're belonging. Do-Yun belongs because 3 generations bowed at that table before him. Your son has bowed at nothing. Because you never let him." Something flickered in her face. Not quite regret. "Suhyun didn't bow either," I said. "Not for 30 years. And you're the reason. You stood up in that meeting and voted her out before your own husband could." Her hand went still on the papers. "How do you—" "I talked to her," I said. "She told me everything. About David. About the vote. About the fact that you've spent 30 years making sure nobody like her, or like me, or like my son, ever gets to sit at that table again. You don't understand what that vote cost me," she said. And for 1 second her voice cracked, just slightly, just enough. "I was 24. My mother-in-law told me if I didn't vote with the family, my own children would suffer for it. So I chose them. I chose Do-Yun. And now you're choosing to hurt his son the same way." She was quiet a long moment. Somewhere in the house, a clock ticked. Steady, indifferent. "The test will prove nothing I don't already believe," she said finally. "But it will buy time. Time the board might use to reconsider the whole arrangement." "Time for what?" "Time," she said, "for me to decide whether 30 years of protecting this family was worth what it cost." I didn't understand what she meant. Not yet. The board convened 3 days later. I wasn't allowed in the room. Spouses never were. But Do-Yun insisted I wait outside the doors instead of at home. Small thing. It mattered. The paternity results came back an hour before the vote. Confirmed, obviously. Do-Yun's son, down to the last marker. I thought that would settle it. It didn't. Madam Han walked out of that boardroom before the final vote was even called, found me in the hallway, and held out a single folded paper. "What's this?" "Read it." I unfolded it. It was short, a formal statement, addressed to the board, in her handwriting. "I withdraw my challenge to the registration of Julian Jun Han. I further move that the board recognize him as legitimate heir to the shares formerly held by Suhyun Han. I ask that this be entered before the vote." I looked up at her, unable to speak. Why? She looked past me, down the hallway, like she was seeing something 30 years old. I called Suhyun this morning, she said. First time I've spoken to her since 1994. What did she say? She asked me one question. Madame Han's voice was very quiet now. She asked if I was going to spend the rest of my life protecting a table nobody wanted to sit at anymore. I didn't say anything. I let her keep going. I have spent 30 years deciding who bows, she said, who belongs. I built an entire life out of that decision. And I looked at my grandson today. In that photograph, at the park, do you know what I saw? What? My husband's brother, she said. The one who died before Doyun was born. The one whose ears I haven't seen on a living face in 40 years. Her voice wavered, just once. I have been so afraid of losing this family that I never noticed I was the one erasing it, piece by piece, generation by generation. The board voted 20 minutes later. Unanimous. Once Madame Han's motion was entered, June was recognized. Suhyun's block of shares passed to him in trust, controlled by Do-Yun and me until he came of age. Effective control of Han Group shifted, quietly and permanently, to our side of the family. Nobody clapped. Nobody cried. It was just numbers on a page, the way these things always are, no matter how much blood went into them. But that night, at the estate, something happened that mattered more than any vote. Madame Han asked if June could come to the Jesa. Not next year. This year, a small, private one, added at the last minute, just family. I dressed him in the navy hanbok, the one from his first birthday. Where we going, Mommy? To bow, I told him. For your family. He didn't understand what that meant. He was 3 years old. He just knew there was rice, and candles, and his grandmother kneeling down beside him, showing him how to fold his small hands. Like this, she said softly. You bow like this. He bowed. Small, clumsy, perfect. Madame Han watched him with an expression I hadn't seen on her face in 3 years. Something that looked, finally, like belonging. I think about that hallway a lot, the folded paper. Her voice quiet for the first time in 3 years. I decide who bows. She was right, in the end. She always had that power. She just finally decided to use it for something other than keeping people out. My son bows at that table now, every year. Ears that belong to a man he never met. Name that belongs to a family that almost erased him twice before he could walk. I don't know if Madame Han and I will ever be close. Some things don't heal just because the paperwork does. But I know this. The table is bigger now. And for the first time in 100 years, it decided who belonged, instead of who didn't. If this story moved you, hit like and subscribe. It helps this channel more than you know. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you watching from tonight? Drop your city below. There's another story from this family waiting for you. One about the aunt who came home. Suhyun's story, 30 years gone, and what finally brought her back. That one's next.